name's Amy Taylor, and I am a yoga teacher and certified yoga therapist. And I'm just going to take you through a few really simple movements to help you to build awareness around how your leg bones move in the pelvis. And as a consequence of building that awareness, you start to develop some more mobility. So the first move you're going to come into is to just bring yourself into a bit of an interesting sitting position here. Now when you come into this, if your hips are tight, it's likely not going to look like this. You may find one leg is up quite a bit more than the other, or you feel a little tipped over. And that's pretty common with tight hips, so don't be worried about that. And bring your a blanket, or maybe you have a little foam block, pillow, something, just to kind of start to prop yourself up so you have a little bit more height and you don't feel so tipped. So whatever you need there to feel comfortable. When you come into this first position, it's important that the foot that's behind you here is not out here on an angle. If it's out here on an angle, it can put quite a lot of torque through your knee. So it might feel a little odd at first to bring this in. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine, just so long as when you're moving, the mobility that you're asking for isn't happening through the knee, it's happening through the hips. So just pay attention to that. So once you've got yourself set up here, however you are set up, you're going to start by just bringing your hands onto the front of the pelvis. So bringing your hands onto the front of the pelvis will help you to just kind of feel what I'm talking about. So you want to just start to roll the ball of the pelvis forward and back and forward and back. Now a few things will happen if you are very tight through your hips. One is a whole lot will be happening sort of through the legs here, and you won't actually be coming forward over the hip. The other thing that can happen is your spine starts to do a whole lot of the movement. So pay attention to how much movement is really happening through the spine and how much is happening sort of down here where the pelvis meets with the legs. So there's the actual joint here that you're looking to bring more awareness into. And then when you can sort of find that movement that's really quite specific and quite exact here where the pelvis, so your hands are here, so you can actually feel this bowl of the pelvis rolling forward and rolling back. Just kind of explore how smooth and rhythmical that can be. So try and stay out of forcing, because you'll find it feels a little jagged and there'll be some kind of hard edges to the movement, and you'll find your breath really changes if you're forcing. So just be really relaxed and kind of take on more of an attitude of exploring the movement, like what is happening in your body. So once you've done, let's say up to 12 of those, just bring your hands into a position just to kind of follow you where you're about to go. And then pick up this hip here, so in my case it's the right, and bring it up, facing forward and back down. Now here again the same tendency might show up that perhaps did in the first one, and that is if it's really tight here, where this pelvis here is rolling over the leg bone, and with this opening you're asking and the engagement of the gluteals here, your spine will show up as sort of a compensatory pattern. So pay attention to how much is happening here, and how much is happening through your spine. So you can kind of see, I'm kind of demonstrating that my hip isn't doing too much, my spine is doing a whole lot. So just kind of feel into your hips. And then once you've established where that rhythmical, smooth, really quite exact, pure movement at the hip here is, bring your hands to a comfortable position. You've got a really small, gentle rotation that's happened as a result of this. And you can just breathe easy here. Make sure that your shoulders are relaxed and your breath's easy, and just kind of feel what is working here. And again, what doesn't need to work. So it can be really interesting to stay here for a few minutes. And then the last one, so bring yourself back down. And you're going to bring your hands to the sides here. And I'm going to actually go on my side so you can see this a bit better. So you're actually going to spill the bowl of the pelvis backwards now. So again, bring your hands onto the bowl of the pelvis. Bring your hands behind you just to support you. And you're going to pick up the hips. Pay attention to your knee. So there is a certain amount of engagement you want to have through this front foot here, this back foot, sorry. So if you do practice yoga quite a lot, sort of think about your upward facing dog legs. So be really connected from this whole foot, from the toes, all the way through. There's quite a bit of strength here through this whole leg, so that when you come up, you're not dropping through your knee. If you feel it drop through your knee, and it sort of taxes on the knee joint, then You need to adjust yourself and not do so much. So again, you're going to pick yourself up and you're going to tip it back. The ball of the pelvis is tipping back and releasing, and tipping back and releasing. So once you've played with this for a little while, provided there is that freedom of movement there, you're not experiencing any pain, and you can breathe really easy, you can go a little further with this one. So you can work with your hands to support you. I think I'm going to go out of the field of view here, so I apologize. Bring yourself down, maintain this opening per se, and just kind of use your arms as a support behind your back. So I've got my elbows bent and I'm really sort of supporting myself in this position. And then let your hips drop back down, come on up, sort of back up to where you started, and finally things have freed up a little bit. Now you can go back to holding and supporting the ball of the pelvis, roll forward like you did in the beginning, and wherever that range finishes, and when I say that range finishes, there's quite a tendency to push further with your back or start to really force. So be really honest with where that finishes, and then you can just kind of hold yourself gently in that position. Over time you will get a little bit further and you'll find that you can get a little bit more release down towards the ground. Again, without forcing. When you force, you're going to be asking your body to bring in all its compensatory patterns that may have already contributed to your tight hips. So you're just cheating yourself. So move with a really easy breath. Consider what it is that you're looking to move and what doesn't need to move. And be sure to do both sides as equally as you can. Have fun with that. Namaste.